the Sugar Cookie Speedway, and don't we all need a little bit of sweetness in our lives? And I know I certainly do after the week I've had dealing with a lot of creditors, and they're not regulated by the FCC, so the things that they can say to you about what they're going to break and what they're going to do, their ability to send photos to you when you think you're alone, it's a little bit more unnerving than a bank, but you get them their money and they stop. So that's the end point. I'm going to get them their money, but look at this, turning into a ghost and a star. That's beautiful stuff. But look at this first place battle, and you're not going to believe who it's with. Carly up in first, struck by Sexy Bacon. Sexy Bacon passing on the final lap, just holding on to that first spot, but a huge step up for Carly. Really exciting stuff to see her taking these leaps, because this is stuff we would not imagine seeing. A final lap battle between Carly and Sexy Bacon. Definitely not last year, but I try to relax afterwards, and I go home to my beautiful house, and well, it's not there. So look at this, the red shell, gorgeous work, flipping over, all style points. I know you don't get extra style points on the track necessarily, but you get them from me, and a star is born. That was gorgeous. But at the front, Donald Hogg just running away with things, starting to close that gap. He needed this after a 7th place earlier in the last event. He needed that, and he closes the gap, gets within striking distance between him and Sexy Bacon. But I find, anyway, I look for my house, and look at this. I gotta comment on this, sorry, but I guess it's my job. I shouldn't apologize for when I'm doing my job, but look at this. If these walls could talk, they would say, "Here comes a shell." And that is fun to see. Special Tay getting hit by the train, getting hit by the shells, but look at this. This is fun. And these final corners are so great. There's some great shots coming up, but just the chaos, everyone crossing the lines and avoiding 3 shells, incredible stuff. But this is where the action happens. A battle from the second lap on, far ahead of the pack. Donald Hogg and Sexy Bacon battling it out. And here's the turning point. That beautiful, beautiful banana, and Sexy Bacon going into that 3rd lap just in complete control. Donald Hogg still chasing. Maybe he has a chance with some items, but it doesn't look good. But those Del Monte teenagers, they stole the van, and I guess these are the pranks these days. In my day, it was, we'll put a tack on the chair. Ouch, I sat down on the tack. Now it's, we're going to take that guy's entire house, which I guess they might not have known it was a house. They might have just thought I'm moving, and we're going to dump it all in the ocean. So anyway, I had 2 choices. Either sleep in that van without anything, and I have a bad back. That wouldn't be good. Look at this. Electric. Every pylon flying around the track. Either sleep on and I know they say, sleep on a hard surface. I'm not sleeping on a van. Anyway, try sleeping on it and then tell me that again. But look at this. Final lap. The blue shell coming out and blows a kiss, says goodbye to first place, it seems, but not so fast. Here's where some electric action happens. Special Tay taking that first spot off the blue shell, then lightning strikes. Let's roll the tape back. Donald Hogg, just an absolute victim of that, just crossing the gap. And here's where we see some absolute magic happening. Gab Gab. He doesn't make the highlight reels a ton, but he caught my eye so much this week. He's electric, and he's a humble kid, That's what I love about him. Just a Midwest kid, handsome as hell. And he just, I met him. He shakes my hand. He says, "Nice to meet you, sir." You don't get that from the other racers, especially not that one right there blowing kisses. But look at this. He's humble as hell. But who's doing stuff like this? Stunts. Blowing up that shell with a beautiful, the shell on the back did it, but that was just showmanship. That was incredible. But Sexy Bacon dominating this event. Donald Hogg squeaking into 2nd despite 2 shaky events at the start, and a Carly 3rd. Isn't that incredible? But move on to the pig pipeline and more electric stuff. So look at that. Shell after shell after shell. But, Donald Hogg getting it rough. But yeah, so I had 2 choices. Either sleep in the van, wreck my back, or go and beg my good friend and my brother in arms to let me sleep in his place. And here's a battle unfolding that I think you're going to like to see. Sexy Bacon just getting into these epic battles these days. Marky Mark, Sexy Bacon just having a hell of a time. And right at the end, boomboxes Sexy Bacon. It seems like Marky Mark has this absolutely clinched. But what happens here? Drives into the wall, totally off the track, and Sexy Bacon just improbably gets that beautiful first place. Keeps that energy going. Incredible stuff. But this is where the magic carpet ride might be coming to an end for Sexy Bacon, at least temporarily. This has not been a good track for Sexy Bacon the last 4 or 5 times they have raced it. But, you know, I end up showing up at Scott Walker's house, and, you know, I'm ringing the doorbell, and he's saying, oh, I rent this place. His parents come to the door. They give me a big eye roll. They know who I am. They say I'm a bad influence on him, and there was a battle going on there. Look at this player blowing up Sexy Bacon. It's incredible to see. And another thing, oh, here's Gab Gab to deliver another banana. This track is just hurting. And the thing is that Sexy Bacon, this track is perfect. It's Royal Raceway. This should be where she is coronated, where she is celebrated, where he is celebrated. But I just think that Sexy Bacon, it's difficult to know what exactly is going on this track. But look at this, a star in hand. They would usually blow up Yoshi's Sword. They're flying off the track. There's just something about this that doesn't sit right with them. But, you know, I eventually go, Scott, your parents are bumming me out, and, you know, you rent this place. And they go, he does not rent this place. And I'm going, what are you talking about? They go, he lives in the basement. He's arguing with them. He's saying, I sublet the basement. They say, you do not. Anyway, I eventually get in, and we're hanging out all night. His parents are very uncomfortable. Scott is showing me his record player. His dad is correcting him and saying, no, this is my record player. They're going back and forth. It's basically both of them going, no, it's my record player. They go, my record player. Anyway, we get on some great vinyl, and the vibes start chilling out a little bit, and it's fun to be in there. We're listening to Life is a Highway, but look at this incredible work by Marky Mark. Fun times on the track. Aren't they having a good time? But Donald Hogg is just having a better time than everybody else. And they're just going around those corners, having great fun. I mean, this is a gorgeous track to watch, and I think we're going to watch a little chaos unfold coming up, because the fire coming in for Gab Gab and Specialty. This is just a track that, and ooh, the lightning striking right as they bring out a star. But if we go forward, look at this. They had that bullet at the right time. This is happening pretty much at the same time. But, you know, we listened to Life is a Highway, and that's really when I started getting my mojo back, and I started feeling good again. I said, you know what? I've got the van still. I don't have any furniture, and we're going to start having fun. I'm going to start, you know, Life is a Highway. Maybe Scott and I hit the open road in that van. I don't have the hog, but we're going to hit that road and have some fun. But Donald Hogg in that first place, he's really dominating this event with 2 back-to-back firsts, and he's got a big gap going into the final race, exactly 8 points ahead of Sexy Bacon, 6 points ahead of the next closest racer. It feels like he's got it in lock, but the racers have something to say about that. Specialty knocking him around, and it is just inexplicable what happens here. But the final lap, Sexy Bacon, Blue Shelled, and Yoshisaur just takes advantage. And as I say, the women of racing showing up big these days, cruising into a first place. But, you know, I ended up staying at the Walker's place, and they said, you know, they were very hostile to me. They didn't make breakfast for me. They made breakfast for 3, and left me out of it, unfortunately. They said that it's enough of a financial burden to feed their son. And anyway, Scott and I, well, Scott was nice enough to sleep on the floor. He's used to that kind of stuff. I slept in the bed, and, you know, my back is doing pretty good because of it. So thankfully, oh, and I guess Sexy Bacon and Marky Mark tied for first. Donald Hogg fell off into 10th place. And man, you know, my producer's not loving the professionalism today, but I'm keeping it together. I'm keeping positive, which I think is a lot. But This is decided by who finishes ahead of the other, just between the two of them. And as you see from these clips, Sexy Bacon just having a tough time. But Marky Mark is just in the driver's seat. And this is a sight that we have not seen in a long time. But Marky Mark standing first on that podium. We see them standing on that 3 stars podium quite a bit, but they pull it off, and just an incredible race. And it always hurts when Sexy Bacon, that's 3 points lost, and they need every single one to get back with Donald Hogg. And I think that the difficult thing about this, when you really think about what Sexy Bacon has gone through this year, that first weekend, 14 points down. A terrible first 2 events while Donald Hogg soared to 2 firsts. That's been the story of the season. They've been pretty much equal with Donald Hogg. They've been fighting, but they just can't get over that hump. They're pretty even racers, but that weekend killed them, and they're just going to need something equivalent from Donald Hogg to catch up. Because if Donald Hogg's on that podium for the rest of the year, it's going to be no contest. He's just going to wrap this one up. But looking at the lower level things, Rachel sort of falling off a really tough weekend. 2 10th place finishes in back-to-back events. She was 3 points within Specialty last week, but that huge gap grows. And not only does it grow, but Carly jumps in between them. But that 4th place spot is going to be exciting to see. Specialty has really jumped up and impressed me as a racer, but he's not faultless. He definitely has the possibility of just falling off and being a clown. So it's one of those things where we don't know exactly if he's going to be able to hold on, but right now he's looking great. He's jumping up on the podium pretty consistently, and I would say it's going to be a tough road for Rachel to close that big gap. But let's move on to an ad. You've heard of Dancing with the Stars, but Driving with the Stars. Lewis Hamilton, Bobby Millie Brown, Kit Harington, Steve Aoki, they're all going to be on the show having fun. And I think that the celebrities get taught by professional drivers. This is produced by Bebo. Bebo's actually going to be racing with Steve Aoki, so it's going to be really exciting to see. And I'm interested to see how Steve Aoki does on the track. But that was a fun, I know I'm excited to watch Driving with the Stars. It's going to be cool. But we're going to move on to the headlines, and disturbing headlines, I think. Dolph's family and friends, they're pleading for clues in the mysterious disappearance of Dolph C. MK1 is really insisting still he's just on the farm, to which the family is asking which farm. No question, no answer after that. So it's a little uncomfortable what's going on there. I'm not exactly sure, but they're worried about their son, and I hope that we can bring some clarity to the situation and bring some answers. I'm a journalist, as I've said, and I think that it's one of those things where, it's gonna be a tough road back for Dolph after whatever he's gone through, and hopefully this is self-inflicted, so to speak, and he's just taking some time, and he is out on the farm, and he just needed a break from all the paparazzi after that exciting weekend. But we need those answers, and we need them yesterday. But moving on to the next highlight or headline, Kid Rock. He said Americans all know who the GOAT is, and he's putting his full support up behind Sexy Bacon to make that late season push for the top of the podium. And that's one of those things that's got to feel pretty good for any racer. Kid Rock, a huge advocate for MK1, a huge long-term fan. Obviously, we're paying him a lot of money to sing for us, but he says he would do it for free. And I know that the commissioner said, well, will you do it for free then? And he says, no, I'm just, I'm not actually going to do it for free. But I would, but I'm not going to. So anyway, we're paying him a lot of money, and I love when he gets to weigh in. I would love to have him on the show, but he says he doesn't really like the media, doesn't like how we talk about him, but okay. I'll take that one on the chin, and I'll dance along to your songs regardless. So the next headline, Blockbuster is back, and Bob Iger is announcing Ready Player 2. This is Player's second big feature film. Disney just lost a bunch of money on a movie, and they said, we need to go back to the heavy hitter, to the sure shot. And, Cars 4 was such a huge success for them. I didn't like it personally. It was too sexual. I think they know what they did there. Everybody denies it and says that wasn't a sexual movie. But Player drives the cars, and they're all competing and wanting him to honk their horn. He's saying, Owen Wilson is a car and he's saying, honk my horn. And we've gone through this a million times. I've talked about it before, but it's not appropriate to watch a man basically pleasure a car. So there's lots of things you can do with the car, but don't pleasure it. But that being said, I love the box office, headline of Player being in another movie. That's like a money maker right there. So Bob is back and he's making big moves. He's making the right decisions. But this is an interesting plot. I'm just reading about it, and it's about a revolutionary new technology allows ordinary people to go into the metaverse and pretend to be Player. And I mean, I would like that, to be quite honest. It'd be fun I would use that technology. And this movie centers on a lonely, a sad, short man who is obsessed with becoming Player, and it goes through how this obsession impacts him and how he tries to use it to escape loneliness, which I don't really, I personally would just like it if this movie was more fun. This sounds like a dramatic role and it'd be interesting. Player is apparently playing both the metaverse version of this sad man. Sylvester Stallone is playing the real life version of him, and I guess there's going to be some weird issues between Sylvester Stallone wanting to meet the real Player. And yeah, I mean, it sounds dark, it sounds interesting, but I think it'd be fun if it was just Ready Player 2 and maybe, Player dancing and having fun in the metaverse, and maybe, I don't know about this loser guy, but like maybe me playing, Player and Austin as the headline. And I'm in the metaverse and I'm also being Player and we're having fun, we're dancing together or something. So that could be a fun version of this, but I will see how it does. It's a risky premise, but I think Player will definitely save it and bring big money into it. So moving on to the final headline, Special Tay named in FTX lawsuit for his role in promoting Scam Index with his "So Easy a Monkey Can Do It" commercial. And you gotta believe me, I wish that I knew about these scams before, because I lost a lot of money in Player Coin. It's inaccessible now, but I do remember these commercials, and it's interesting because Special Tay, when we have him on the program, he's so sad, he's so moody, he's so, he seems like a very intelligent, brooding guy, but it must have paid him a lot of money because he's willing to go on this program, and that's a quote from it. He's buying, he go, "Can I buy banana bucks?" And he's speaking like that, which is just, it's degrading to him. I've heard him speak. He's very articulate. He goes, "Can I buy banana bucks?" And Tom Brady is across from him. He goes, "Yeah, you can buy banana bucks." And Special Tay eats his phone. So it's, I would just argue that this is, if that convinced anybody to buy cryptocurrencies and get into FTX, that's not my responsibility. That would be my argument from Special Tay's legal team, is that this commercial was so stupid that if anybody was convinced by it, I think that they would lose their money regardless of this commercial. So I think that's a good, I lost all my money in cryptocurrency, and even I wasn't convinced by this commercial. So, yeah, but anyway, those are the headlines, and it's exciting. I can't wait for everybody to be back on the track.